Today I want to talk to you about one of the worst kings in Israel's history, reading from 2 Kings chapter 16, verses 18 and 19, where we read this. Also he removed the Sabbath pavilion which they had built in the temple, and he removed the king's outer entrance from the house of the Lord on account of the king of Assyria. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaz, which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? Ahaz was one of the worst kings to reign over Jerusalem and the kingdom of Judah. He brought in corrupt pagan innovations to the temple of God. Ahaz took away many of the good things that stood before. The record of 2 Kings chapter 16 tells us some of the story, but not all of it. The rest of the acts of Ahaz are found in 2 Chronicles and a few other places. You see, Ahaz did what he could to discourage the worship of the true God at the temple of God. For a time, he even shut down the operation of the temple and established a small pagan altar all around Judah. You'll find those altars recorded in 2 Chronicles chapter 28. I think that in many ways, Ahaz is a warning to our generation. He could be considered a church leader from the 21st century on several points. First of all, Ahaz was a man with an artistic sense of style. Ahaz was impressed with technology and bought the Babylonian innovation of the sundial to Jerusalem. Ahaz loved innovation and new things, and he brought those innovations into worship. At the same time, Ahaz seemed to be a nice man. He did not have the persecuting spirit of his grandson Manasseh. Yet, Ahaz had the advantage of great prophets and messengers, such as Isaiah and Micah. Ahaz had the blessing of a great deliverance when God spared Jerusalem and Judah from conquest. And Ahaz also had the influence of a godly father and a godly heritage in the line of David. You see, Ahaz had many advantages, yet he was a terrible leader for the people of God. The key to understanding Ahaz is to note that he had no real relationship with God. Ahaz destroyed the link that his father Jotham made between the palace and the temple. And this was an illustration of his destroyed relationship with God. With his love of the latest trends and fashion, he was the opposite of Jesus, who is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Ahaz had a vague spiritual interest, and that was not enough. In the end, Ahaz put his trust in himself and in other men, instead of the living God who reigns from heaven. Therefore, his reign was a disaster. He was one of the worst among the kings of Judah. How can you avoid the same kind of disaster? Well, don't put your trust in yourself, in your gifts, in your strengths, in the latest style, or even in good people who want to help you. At the foundation, put your trust in God. Jesus is worthy of our trust. Hey, put your effort into real relationship with Him in and through His Word, coming to Him with sincerity of heart and humbleness of spirit, and you can do that today.